So they have to go back and get the stones, and they realize that there's a time when 3 stones are in New York: the Tesseract, which has the Space Stone, the Eye of Agamotto, which has the Time Stone, and the Scepter, which has the Mind Stone. This is when Loki is attacking New York with the Chitauri army. And so they try and get the team back together to get all the Infinity Stones. And then we are introduced to, or it's a bit earlier, but I think I've skipped out a bit or whatever, but Ronin is now a thing after the 5 years. And he's just killing bad people and stuff. He's just gone downhill since the snap. He lost his whole family. And Black Widow pretty much goes and brings him in because he's like, they need him and everything. There's also, at this point, when they go to get the team together, they go to get Thor. Professor Hulk and Rocket go to get Thor. And this was the major complaint I had about the movie. This was what, not going to say ruined, but this is a major factor into why I'm not thinking as highly of it as I did Infinity War, is that Thor is now like fat. Yeah, I don't know like how else to phrase it. Thor's now fat, and he's just a slob. Like, he's playing games and stuff with Korg and whatever, and I'm not entirely sure why they did. I think what probably happened, I think one of two things probably happened. I think either they came up with the idea for the 5-year time gap, and they thought, okay, how do we make these people look like they've been affected, like look like it's been 5 years? So they think, okay, Tony's gonna have a family, he's gonna like sort of close himself off. Steve's going to be like running a support group. Hulk is now come to differences with Banner. And then they thought, oh, what else have we got? We'll make Thor fat. So that could be one thing as well. I heard Chris Hemsworth talking about Thor Ragnarok. It was that he just didn't really like the character that much anymore, so he just wanted to change it up. I feel like that could have happened, and I would be quite disappointed if that is what happened, that they just were a bit bored of the character, because it's sort of the conclusion of 11 years, 22 movies. It's like, it's not really about what the actor like is wanting, just because it affects so many other people. But yeah, sorry, I tangented a bit there. So yeah, I thought Fat Thor was quite a bad decision on their part. Not even for like the comedic effect. And the fact that it doesn't change throughout the entire movie. Even at one point, me and my friend both said that we had thought, even if they, like when he grabbed the hammer or whatever, even if the lightning had made him ripped again or whatever, like it's not logical. I would have preferred he wouldn't be fat in the first place, but it still would have been something, because it's like, it's a god pretty much. That it's just, he's still a superhero, but he's just not like satisfying as a conclusion to the whole saga and everything. So they all go to go back in time to get all the Infinity Stones, and Cap, Tony, I think Ant-Man, and I think that may be it, go to collect... No, and Professor Hulk. They all go to collect the 3 in New York in 2012 from the first Avengers movie, and you see a little throwback to that, a little homage to the original movie, the original 6. And Professor Hulk goes to get the Time Stone from the Ancient One, which that is another little cameo thing. And she pretty much just says no, to which, because she says no because it'll create alternate timelines that they won't be able to protect, I think, is pretty much the gist. And he says, well, no, because what we can do is we can put the stones back exactly where we got them from. We can travel back in time and put them back where we got them from. And the timeline will have never changed, because the stone has never... It's been in the same place all the time. And so she says no again, and he says something like, well, why did Doctor Strange give the stone away then, or whatever? And she realizes that he's supposed to be the smartest of all of them, all the supreme sorcerers, and so she ends up giving him the time stone. Tony and Ant-Man go to get the Tesseract off of the original Avengers, after they've just got it from Loki, and they pretty much scuff the whole thing up. So in the meantime, Captain America gets the scepter from the lift, or from the Hydra Shield agents, the Shield ones that turn out to be Hydra in Winter Soldier. He gets the Mind Stone from them in the scepter, and there's a little lift scene where you think it's going to be like the lift scene in Winter Soldier, I think. But he ends up outsmarting them and whispering Hail Hydra into their ear, so they think that he's with them. So after Tony and Ant-Man have scuffed the job up and they don't have the Tesseract, they go back to a military base where the Tesseract is being kept to grab that, where Captain America sees Peggy from back in the war days, and Tony Stark sees Howard Stark, his dad. And so this is like a sort of Captain America never talks to Peggy, but Tony Stark has a conversation with his dad, and his dad is talking about how his wife's pregnant and that he would do anything for the kid, pretty much. And it's like a nice little thing, because he never, like, from Civil War, he never got to like say goodbye to his dad and everything. So yeah, that's the New York people. As well as that, Rocket and Thor go to get the ether from Jane when she's in Asgard from Thor: The Dark World. And Thor has a conversation with his mum, and she knows he's from the future, pretty much. And this is when Thor breaks down or whatever. And Rocket runs off and he gets the Infinity Stone, the ether, from Jane. So that's not really much to be said about that. It may have been meant to be like a bit of a defining moment for Thor, oh yeah, this is I'm saying goodbye to my mum, my mum's right and stuff, I'm a mess or whatever. But it didn't really come across like that. I don't think there was much behind it. And then the last two stones, what is there left? There's the last two stones, there's the power, and what else is it? The last two stones, there's the power and the soul stone. So Nebula and War Machine go to get the power stone. They go to get it off Morag, where Peter Quill is about to get it. They knock him out and just get it, simple enough. And Hawkeye and Black Widow go to get the soul stone off of Vormir. At which point they realise that one of them has to die to get it. So in the end, it's they fight over who's gonna sacrifice themselves, and in the end, Black Widow manages to win, and she throws herself off the edge, and Ronin or Hawkeye gets the Soul Stone. So at the point where War Machine and Nebula are getting the Power Stone, there's a bit of the Nebula, the past Nebula, the 2014 Nebula, I think it is, glitches out a bit because there's two of them at the same time, and Thanos pretty much, he clocks onto this, and he goes, to cut a long story short, he figures out that they're from the future, and he uses Nebula to travel into the future,